Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Life on Fire. This week, since it's Valentine's Day coming up, I just want to talk about green flags you probably thought were red, comparing yourself to an old relationship, and the two needs every human needs. But first, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, all the messages, all the likes, all the ratings. It's really helping the podcast. Actually, I just got an email from Apple saying that I'm number one and then placed, two, three, whatever, in different places all over Europe. So that's really cool. I mean, not really in Canada or the States, but that's fine. We're crushing it in somewhere else in the world, and that's pretty sweet. Um, but I want to read a comment from somebody from just the other day. They said, "Dear Spencer, thank you so much for putting out this podcast. It has inspired me in ways you'll never know. I know you don't know me and you don't need to respond, but I just want to say thank you. It has really been able to push me in doing something that I've never done before." Hearing things like that is really cool because like it just gives me a purpose. It gives me an understanding um, that my words are actually getting to somebody, that I'm able to help somebody in some way where maybe one of my words resonates with somebody, and that's an awesome feeling. So thank you very much for sending me that comment. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate your time, and let's just get right into it. So relationships, you know when you feel like a relationship is boring, it's probably healthy, and let me tell you why. Let me preface this by saying this is for the people who have been in those roller coaster tycoons, those relationships with the ups and downs, those ones where you've had people do the old push and pull method on you, where somebody gives you a lot of attention at the beginning and then they take it away. And then you reach out. This is for those people with the relationships from a long time ago where maybe they haven't healed from things because they've been treated poorly or have been shown that they've had to fight for somebody's attention, and those traits kind of carry over as you get older, and those are the things that people always constantly work on to better themselves. So with those ups and downs and all those things, those misfortunes that have happened in a previous relationship, that is where people find comfort now in a new relationship, and they mistake a lot of those things, those toxic traits, for passion. So when you get into a relationship now, it's very difficult. People who have had these horrible relationships in the past, because they're constantly fighting these feelings and trying to differentiate from something that was new, that is considered, oh, this person's like kind to me. This person is actually asking me how I'm doing. This is so bizarre, weird. And then they initially think, they're like, oh, well, this is boring. Like, I'm not excited, because you're not having those emotional ups and downs, those fluctuations that like you think like, oh, well, that's what love is, when really that's not what love is. But it's because that's what you had when you were younger, and that it was so ingrained in you that getting older, that's what you think it is. So next time you make any of these big decisions of like the 5 stages of dating that I'll talk about in another podcast, but the first is a honeymoon, the second is this decision, that's that doubt and denial, and that is where people are like, okay, you know what, I'm not feeling this love that I felt in a previous relationship, so I'm going to get out of here, and nobody's going to fight for it. So before you make those big decisions, ask yourself, is it boring, or is it just healthy, and I'm not used to this? You know, one of the most common mistakes that people do is comparing an old highlight reel from a past relationship to a fresh relationship. And I've seen this time and time again where somebody will talk to their friends and say, "Oh, well, it doesn't feel like what it used to. I'm not feeling the same love from my past relationship into this new one." First, that's kind of a sign that you're actually not over the person from the past, but also that is just showing that you're comparing maybe a 4, 5, 7 year relationship to a month relationship where you're just getting to know somebody. And that is unfair. You're doing yourself a disservice and that person a disservice. and you're making it incredibly hard on yourself to, open yourself up to a brand new relationship that is going to feel completely different. Um, because with that comparing, it's never going to line up. And I want you to ask yourself, what did I argue a lot about in the last relationship that like I'm not having those problems in this new relationship? Because if you sit back and you think like a third party person, when things go wrong, it gets a lot of attention and it's loud and they stand out. And that is where you make these marks in your brain saying, oh, okay, maybe this is love. This person is fighting for me. This person is, but really that is probably a problem you guys are having. But because you're bringing it to a new relationship, you're saying, oh, well, that was something that was actually keeping me interested in this person. And then when you come to a new healthy relationship where this person is being kind, this person is doing things for you for absolutely no reason, and you're questioning it, you're like, this person is too nice. Why? What are they getting at? And then it doesn't get that much recognition, or it's not getting as much as attention as the other things. And it's just because it's easy. And that is where it's confusing for people. And then they just mark it as boring. And when that happens and it's been marked as boring, and you tell yourself this over and over again, you talk to your friends and you say, it's just not what it used to be. And then you make up this excuse saying, or you talk to this person, you say, the spark isn't there. And you say it's these feelings that you're not having. And then you might catch yourself later thinking about this person and be like, did I make a mistake? Was that the right decision? But I want to say this, and I think a lot of people can agree with me, that a spark is BS. That is something made up by Disney and Hollywood to make you feel like there is this ultimate feeling, that there's this one person for somebody. When I don't believe that. I think there's multiple people for everyone. It's just about how much you're willing to put in the effort with, and do you actually want to talk and listen to this person and make it work? Because no matter who you choose, you had an attraction with this person at the very beginning. And that's where you decide, am I going to work on this with that person? Or are you just going to say, you leave it up to chance and say, this is all about a feeling I'm supposed to have? And if you do that, you're going to have these short, 1 month, 3 month, maybe 6 month top relationships, because you're basing it on a premise given to you by a movie or an article saying that love is something else. I want to tell you that this spark or this feeling or whatever you want to call it can be recreated. It can be developed over and over again. But that is just something that you need to work on together, because you're just building your attraction constantly, finding out more about this person or doing activities with them. But it's not just a simple, I like you, you like me. That will fade. And that's not something that people are taught. Everybody thinks that, oh, once you like somebody, you like somebody. But that's not the case. I think if you talk to the older generation, every single one of them will tell you, I had to fight for this. I'm not married for 50 years or whatever by just saying, yeah, we're good. They had to fight for that every single day, or they had tough moments that maybe they wanted to leave, but they didn't, because back then you fought for what you loved. There was this funny thing that I saw with Drew Barrymore and Keanu Reeves, and she said, are you a lover or a fighter? Or he said that to her, and she was like, oh, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And then he goes, oh, no, no, no. You can't be a lover without being a fighter, because you got to fight for your love. And, like everybody laughs, but it's true. That is a constant thing. And I think you can agree with me. But with this day and age, it's all about situationships. Nobody's really talking. It's all about the swipe culture. It's all about the grass is greener. And that whole chivalry kind of love, endless love, isn't what it used to be. And honestly, it's a shame. I'm team chivalry. Okay, so in this new relationship that you decide to get in, that person that you want to be with, that you want to try things with, I challenge you to open your mind and your heart. That instead of the things that held you back in a previous relationship, I want you to look at those things and try those things and see if this person is open to those things. Because I want you to look for the different feelings. Look for someone who will stand beside you, someone that will fight for you, that's not going to let you go to bed upset, that actually cares in those moments that you seem off, that maybe you're having an off day, and they'll go that extra mile just to make you smile. One thing that I like to do that I still feel that is lost on people is, I was talking to somebody and they were having a very stressful time with school, worrying about their whole life and, getting in their head. And I think it's simple things as just saying, hey, I'm going to stop by. We're going to go for a walk. We're going to clear your head. We're going to just talk about nothing. It's those little moments that show you care, that says, hey, maybe you don't even see that person and they're really busy, but you stop and you drop off flowers at a cart, or you maybe DoorDash them some food. These little things that show that you're thinking about them in a time that you're not even with them. That is things that I feel are missed, that I think you should be looking out for. And if somebody is willing to go those extra miles, that is something you should keep your eyes open for. Not that person that is ignoring you or playing a game with you, not responding to you, and then messages you at like 1 a.m. That's not something that you should be looking for. But I mean, hey, whatever your preference is, I'm not here to judge. You do you. At the end of the day, you do you. All I'm saying is I'm the person that is still looking for, like even when you have an argument or a discussion, that you can trust that you're having these tough talks, that person that you're with or that you want to be with isn't just going to walk away. They're not going to just leave you high and dry in this conversation and say it's done. I think that is the thing that is missed these days, because there is so many options that somebody can just be like, it was tough today. I think I'm just going to go hop on that app and find something else. Because that is what is sad about today's age, is that if you're just beginning to see somebody, they're probably talking to 3 different people and thinking, oh, this person's nice. This person's nice. And then just because it doesn't go well one night with you, then they hop back on. And I think that's where a lot of people's fear of fighting for somebody's attention comes from, because now it is a lot harder. But I think you have to put that to the side and go into a relationship with, you know what, I'm just going to do the best. I'm going to be myself. And if that person doesn't like it, I'm still who I am, and I'm going to come out okay. And then you're comfortable no matter what. All I'm saying is just the important things is the little things. Try and find somebody who understands you, that at the end of the day, that person is just your best friend. And you're doing the mundane things in life, but they feel the greatest because you just have that person there with you. I can relate this to friends of mine, Taylor and Zach. I absolutely love their relationship. And the way that my friend Zach, talks about his wife, his best friend, his partner, is something that his entire friend group looks up to, because it's incredible. Like, he never says anything bad about her. I'm sure there's obviously, things that annoy them, as every relationship is. But the way that he looks at her, he absolutely adores her, and he will do anything for her. And we all absolutely admire it. And that is just another thing that I love about my friend Zach. So Zach, if you're listening to this, you're doing it right, buddy. And I think we all know that. So moral of that story is just find your best friend. Now, to the real red flags, the things that you could have identified literally 2 days in instead of 2 years in, that's where people start to romanticize. Because, at the end of the day, we're all romantics. We all want to believe in this love. And, we're our own biased judges, honestly, because when you get into a new relationship, you just want to see the best. And that is those rose tinted glasses. That's that honeymoon phase. you are going to ignore the actual red flags to see what you used to see in an old relationship, thinking that it's perfect when it's not. And you'll get into this relationship and you'll keep it on ignoring them, because the moment you start to like somebody, you start ignoring all the bad behaviors. And I think we can all agree we've all done this, because you want to believe that something's there. You want to believe that this person's it. You're going to go, you know what? I'm going to work it out with this person. So that is where there is a key difference between noticing that a relationship is healthy, where somebody is kind and they genuinely care about you, to something is that's boring, or there's these bad habits that somebody has, that they're mistreating you, or they're not making time for you, that you're a second priority. And it's very hard to do. And a lot of people, they have those rose tinted glasses on, and we have to go through a couple bad relationships to find the right one. And you know what? That's why I encourage people to get out there to date, but it doesn't mean you have to get out there and date everything, but just actually put in the effort with one person, try it with them, see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. You say, hey, I had a great time with you, getting to know you. I'm just not feeling what I need to feel. And you don't have to, like, if it was a horrible relationship and, there is things, obviously you can say what you want. Maybe you're saying, I'll give you like some examples of what you could say to somebody else to get out of a relationship. You can say, hey, you know what? I had a great time with you. But I'm starting to see somebody else more seriously. I hope there's no hard feelings, but I really appreciate your time. Saying that to get out of something, if it's been like a short, I don't know, 1-2 month relationship or something, then that's totally fine, because maybe you are seeing somebody else, but that's not hurting anybody's feelings. And I think that is one of the better ways you can do it, is being honest with somebody. And I know it's really tough for a lot of people to end something, or they're afraid to even start dating somebody because they don't want to end it. They think about ending it with somebody and they're like, well, what if it doesn't go well? And that can stop people from even getting out there. And I want to remind everybody, no matter what you're in, a situationship, a relationship, you're dating, whatever, no matter what you call it, you can leave at any time. There's nothing that is tying you to this person. And that is what scares a lot of people, is they're like, oh, well, once we put a label on it, then I'm stuck. But no, you can literally leave at any time. Obviously, even same with marriage, like it's a lot harder and you have to go through paperwork and things like that, but you can still leave at any time. But that is where the beauty comes from, that you're choosing that person every single day. And when you find somebody that it is easy with, that you both care about each other, that nobody's trying to play games, and you do find it to be a healthy relationship, but it is enjoyable, but you're saying, I'm not feeling what I used to in an old relationship with those ups and downs, that is where you want to work on that relationship. That is where you want to spend the time with that person and do these activities with, because in the beginning you were attracted to them, you had a good time with them, but you're just not feeling those ups and downs like you used to. So that is where it freaks you out. And that's where you want to get out. And that is where I'm telling you to try and push past that. Don't look at your friends for advice, because once you start asking your friends for advice, that's when you start to question yourself. And you don't want to do that. Okay. And, if you're going on a date on this Halloween, Valentine's Day, and, you start to realize, in like, you look, if someone isn't accepting you for being kind, or being interested in you, and they're not giving you exactly what you want when you are just being genuine, loving, then that's not for you. Because if you actually treat them like a human being and they aren't accepting that, and they get weirded out and they want to back off from that, then that's not what you want to be into, and that's a problem on them. Because even if they say like, how they want to be treated, and they're like, oh, I want a nice person, I want somebody who treats me well, I want somebody, and then you give them exactly that, and then they say, oh, this is too much for me, this is overwhelming, then you know what, that's commitment issues on their end. That has nothing to do with you. I don't want you to change because you're not broken. Okay. It's understood that humans have these two needs. One, they want to be authentic, they want to be self-expressive, and they want to be ourselves, or sorry, you want to be yourselves. And then the other one is the needing to belong. And when these two compete with each other, and it usually happens in a relationship where you want to be yourself, but then you find that this person isn't accepting you. So then you try to belong to this. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It could be this group or this workplace or something like that. And you find yourself that belonging will overcome the needing to be yourself. And that is what is sad about a lot of relationships, is that somebody will conform. There needs to be a yin and yang. There needs to be a good balance where everybody, there's sacrifice and everything. But when it starts to happen that you feel this overwhelming need to belong to this relationship more than being yourself, then that is where the problems are going to come. You will turn down who you are to fit in with this person, but will you be happy? No, not long term, at least. Maybe in that moment, you'll be like, oh, nice, I'm with this person, I feel like I belong with them. But then after a while, you'll say, oh my gosh, like I gave up my beliefs, I gave up who I was, what I like to do, just to be with this person, because you had those rose colored tinted glasses on and you saw this person as perfection. And then, it's 6 months, a year down, and then you're like, I'm not happy because I gave up who I was. You don't want to belong to a relationship at the cost of being yourself. So I'm going to leave it like that. I hope you enjoyed this podcast on a little bit of relationship. I thought I'd tie it in for Valentine's Day and make it a little coupley. But anyways, I just want to say thank you once again for tuning in, for listening, to being a part of this. And I really appreciate all the messages you guys have been sending me. And so I just want to say, I hope you have a great week, and whatever you're doing, you're going to crush it. And I'm proud of you. So thanks again for listening to Life on Fire. I'll catch you next week. Bye.